Thank you all for taking some time out on a Wednesday evening to learn a little bit about rosé, because I don't know what's happening in Michigan or in Arizona, but I think I know Arizona is just perpetually hot. It's finally starting to warm up here in California, which means that all of a sudden everybody's decided that it's okay to start drinking rosé again. And my goal, especially with this, is just to prove that rosé can be drunk all year round, and it's really, really beautiful wine. So for those who haven't been on one of these calls before or don't know me, hi, I'm Erin. By day, I'm the managing editor for a wine magazine called Wine Business Monthly, and we are a B2B trade publication, so I don't review wine on a daily basis, which would be great. I instead write about how we make it and, more importantly, how we sell it. That's what everybody wants to talk about today. I'm also the founder of Novel Pairings because I am a lifelong reader and a huge wine lover, and I very much believe that any good story deserves a good glass of wine, and that wine can help immerse you in the story that you're reading. I am WSET Diploma certified, which is a really fancy way of saying I spent 3 years studying everything that I could about wine and spent a lot of money tasting wines to be able to talk to you about what we're drinking today. My whole goal with this is to prove that wine is fun. It's not as stuffy. I'm not going to go super deep into a lot of the rosé trends because, especially when we get to California, there's a lot that's happening. This is just going to be a really nice, quick overview. So, quick setup. If you have a bottle of rosé chilled, please pour yourself a glass. This is a wine webinar. You must have a glass of wine in hand. That is how we do this. Please have your cameras on because it's so much more fun to look at you and not a black screen. But if you need a break, totally understand. Please feel free, turn your camera off, turn your mic off. If you have a question, feel free to interrupt me. I really love dynamic questions. I'm happy to answer questions as we go. If for some reason your dogs are barking like mine are right now and you feel like just popping it into the chat, please do. I'll keep an eye on that and try to answer the questions as quick as I can. All right, and our goal, of course, the rosé world is vast. Hopefully you have more fun picking out a glass of rosé or a bottle when you're at the store. That's the goal. All right, we are gonna dig in. So, quick show of hands, let's be honest. How many of you have bought a bottle of rosé in the past because the label was cute? I'm just going to share a little bit about what I'm drinking now. This is the Little Soul rosé from the Central Coast. And did I buy it because the label's cute? Absolutely. Does it taste phenomenal? Yes, it does too. How many of you have thought that the color of the rosé mattered when it came to quality when you made that purchase? Okay. And then how many of you have ordered one and really just kind of hoped for the best? That's me on most wine lists, I won't lie. I am right there with you. There are so many myths and preconceived notions about what rosé is. And so we have a lot of these pervasive stories that we kind of tell ourselves that in the end, it's really just meant that we all kind of hope for the best. We buy a bottle and just kind of think it'll be okay or hope that it'll be okay. At its core, rosé is really simple. It's what happens when you take red wine grapes and during the fermentation, you give them a very short skin contact. Like it just spends a little bit of time in contact with the skins because the skins are where we get the color for all of our wines. So whether it's a red grape or a white grape, all of the juice inside of a grape is the same color. And it's that clearish, lemony color you see in most white wines. If you don't believe me, go grab some table grapes, peel the skins off, see the color that comes onto your fingers, and then squeeze a little bit of juice out over a plate, and you'll see that juice is clear. So to get this beautiful pink color, we just spend or put a little bit of those skins in contact with the wine to dye it that sometimes salmon, sometimes pink, sometimes red color. Okay, here's where I'm going to get technical. If this goes a little too geeky, please tell me because this is literally my day job. I spend a lot of time with this. So in any time we make wine, we pick the grapes, we bring them into the cellar, and we lightly crush them. And it's not like we're crushing them into a paste. We're just breaking the skins. For a rosé, we take those grapes, the juice, and the broken skins. We put them into a tank, let fermentation start. We add some yeast. Hi, Bo. Hi, Lauren. I see you guys joining in there. We put them in the tank. We take the yeast. We add the yeast in because yeast plus heat plus sugar turns into alcohol. For about 3 hours, 3 to 5 hours, really, we leave that juice in contact with the skins. After those few hours are up, we drain out all of the juice, put it into a separate tank, and let fermentation continue. And we let fermentation continue because if we didn't, we would end up with an incredibly sweet, incredibly low alcohol. I wouldn't even call it wine, right? When we're making red wines, we leave grapes on the skins for pretty much the duration of fermentation. And that can take anywhere from days to weeks, depending on the winemaker. So again, for rosé, just a couple hours, just enough to get a little bit of that beautiful color out of the skins. And then we drain it out and finish fermentation so it turns into our regular style wine. Any questions on that? That is like the quickest possible explanation of fermentation for rosé. Cynthia's nodding her head like it's so much more complicated than that, Erin. Why this matters and how this is different. So for a white wine, we bring the grapes in, we crush them, and then we press them. We immediately remove the skins from the grapes. We ferment the wine, turn it from really sugary, low alcohol to 0 sugar, normal alcohol level, about 11 to 13%. We mature the wine and then we bottle it. For a red wine, we switch the press and the fermentation steps. So for a red wine, we bring the grapes in, we crush them, we immediately start fermentation with the skins so that the wine will end up having the right amount of color and the right amount of tannin. Once that's done, once fermentation's complete, then we press it, remove all of the juice from the skins, and we take that juice, mature it, usually in oak barrels, and then we bottle it. For rosé, it's a combination of both of these steps. So bring the grapes in, crush them, short fermentation on skins, just a couple hours, press and remove all of that juice, finish the fermentation, and then we bottle it. We don't mature it unless, of course, we're storing it in tank until it's April and the weather warms up and now everybody's decided that we can drink rosé again. So really, it's just a combination of when we ferment and when we press that really determines whether it's a white, red, or rosé. And a rosé is really that combination of the two. This is how we make rosé wine. There are a lot of other myths around how it's made. Yes, you can blend red and white wine, and that will become pink. It's also not allowed pretty much anywhere in the world. This is what we call an accidental rosé, and it usually happens when the cellar intern accidentally mixes up the tanks and the pumps. Most people don't market this. There are some other methods where you like bleed off some of the red wine as it's fermenting, but it never really produces the right kind of style. 97% of the rosés out there in the world are made using this method. It is intentional and totally meant to create the right kind of style. So that's a little bit about how it's made. Before we get into the styles, I want to know what you're drinking tonight. So Jill and family, I'm going to call on you first.
Okay, we have 3 because I couldn't decide. We have a rosé of Tempranillo, a rosé of Pinot Noir, and a rosé of Mourvedre.
Ooh, okay, we are going to have so much fun dissecting that. Any favorites yet? Have we started trying them?
We have the rosé of Tempranillo. It's one of our family favorites from Matchbook.
Ooh,
we started.
Okay. All right, Kim, you're next on my screen. I'm going to call on you. What are you drinking?
Echo
There it is.
All right. Whispering Angel.
is the one that we're drinking right now, and then perhaps later on we will get to TM Rosé, Toscana. A Toscana. I don't know. This was recommended by my wine store.
We love that. Fun fact, Whispering Angel is one of the wines that set off the rosé craze in the United States. So I'm so glad you have that one. That's like the perfect wine to be drinking tonight. Jessica, what about you?
Okay, so I'm drinking this summer water because it was a cute little label and it's from San Luis Obispo, which is where I grew up. So also too, fun fact, did not know that there was a season for rosé, and maybe that's because in Arizona it is hot all the time. So we just drink rosé all the time. But it now explains why some of the fancier wine stores that I've gone into now have like a bunch of pink in them. Like, oh, okay. I just thought it was just because.
You know, I'm so glad that you're in an area where it's rosé season all year round, because we can definitely see it in the sales. Like there's this massive slump through the fall and winter and then just picks right back up in spring. Last but not least, Cynthia, what are you drinking?
I am drinking, I'm sorry that all the bottles are gone, but I'm drinking J. Lore Stairway Vineyard Grenache Rosé with a twist, The twist is that I had a fundraising party on Sunday, and my caterer, upon my request, turned it into a sangria rosé. So some very special additional, strawberry and other ingredients. But what's really fun, and Jill and family, I can so appreciate that you are tasting through. I heard rosé of Syrah. I think I heard rosé of Mourvedre, etc. Super, and another one, was it rosé of Cabernet Sauvignon?
Tempranillo.
Tempranillo. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is my favorite thing, is tasting through all the different base varietals for rosé, because my Stairway Vineyard Grenache Rosé, while the base grape obviously is Grenache, is 19% Mourvedre. So, and it looks like this in rosé form. So I'm having a good old time because I didn't have any on Sunday. And so this is my first time enjoying it. And it's pretty delicious. So this is a great conversation already.
I'm gonna need your caterer's recipe for that because I already love that particular rosé. So
I'll
we're
be sure
gonna
to
mix
share
that
it
up.
with you. Yes, I'll be sure to share it with you.
Yes. So I ask this now because I want to bust some myths. You just saw the like huge breadth of styles of rosé. We've got lots of different grape varieties over, at Jill's house. We've got the classic Provençal rosé at Kim's house. Jessica, you've got that beautiful summer water, which is a newer entrant onto the market. And Cynthia, you've got the wine cocktail, which I'm like here for. And I'm definitely going to be making that this weekend. So the biggest myth around rosé is that the color is an indicator of quality. And there's some weird belief out there, and you'll hear somms say it, you might even hear wine shops say it, that the paler the color, the better. The fact of the matter is that's not true. The paler the color, the more an indicator of style, and a Provençal style, meaning it comes from the Provence region of southern France, which is a little bit of a somm darling. The darker the color tends to come from a newer world region, which for some strange reason, there's still this belief that the new world, aka the US, Australia, South Africa, that we're just not as good. Not true. The other myth that exists is the color relates to the sweetness. And the lighter the wine, the less sweet, the darker the wine, the more sweet. The truth is you can have a range of sweetnesses in any color. You can have a sweet wine that is super pale. You can have a sweet wine that is super dark. It's entirely up to the winemaker and the style that they want to make. What really does matter when it comes to rosé, though? Three main things: the grape, the fermentation time, and the region. So the grape is probably the most important factor, at least in the color of rosé. Every grape has a different color to its skins. Some throw off a lighter pink, some throw off a darker red, some even go a little bit purplish if you let it. Most winemakers avoid that because nobody really wants to be drinking like a purplish light wine. But depending on how it's grown is really what's going to tell you all you need to know about the quality level, right? The more attention they give to the grapes with the knowledge that they're going to be using it to make a rosé, the better the quality will be. Fermentation time also makes a difference, right? The longer the time you spend, the juice spends with the grape skins, the darker the color. So for Provence style rosés, which are the really popular ones, the really pale ones, they spend 3 hours at most in contact with the skins. For a lot of California rosés and some of the newer world rosés, we spend about 8 to 9 hours on average. It can really, really range from 3 hours to 27 hours, but 3 to like 10 is where most of them are. All it is winemaker preference and style. Some like their rosés a little bit darker, some don't. And then lastly, of course, region. Every region's a little bit different. So with the regions, the warmer regions, they're going to have more expressive fruit aromas and flavors in their rosés. They may also tend to grow grapes with thicker skins, and those thicker skins will tend to create rosés with a darker color. In cooler regions, it will be a little bit less expressive fruit and potentially a lighter color. And then, of course, some regions are just really well known for their distinct style, right? Provence is known for that very pale colored, crisp, light, easy wine. Italy is known for its rosato. It's a little bit more expressive. Spain is known for theirs. Their rosado tends to be a little bit more red in color. That's just the style that is expected of the region. And in some cases, they are required to make the wine that way. So when you're looking at rosé, really, it's all about the region and the grape variety. That's how you're going to be able to choose the style that's right for you. Okay, so some of the other important styles. Sorry, I keep losing my mouse here. Of course, Provence, the trendsetter. These are pale, and they have become so pale, it almost looks like water if you look at it. If you go to a store, pick up a bottle of Provence Rosé and then compare it to a California, and you will see that color difference. They are very actively looking to get the least amount of color into their rosés. These are super light, crisp, easy wines, lots of citrusy character, lots of melon. If you have not tried Whispering Angel before, please try it. I was told when I began working in the wine industry that if I didn't know what Whispering Angel tasted like, I couldn't count myself part of the wine business. It is quintessential wine. This is sort of the trendsetter, the goal for a lot of rosés. They're trying to make their rosés in a way that can compete with Provence because Provence has really cornered the market for so long. Spain's version, Rosado. This is the easy pour. This is the really fruity, easy to love, kind of porch pounder rosé. And I say that lovingly. Sometimes you don't want a super complicated wine. You just want something that has really juicy strawberry, watermelon, and will go down easy, right? It's not too much acid. It's not sweet. It's a dry wine. It's just nice on a warm summer day. Let's talk about White Zinfandel. I was going to go straight into a California rosé slide, but if we're talking about rosé styles, we have to talk about White Zinfandel. So way back when, in the 80s, a man called Bob Trinchero was trying to ferment Zinfandel grapes the regular way. He was trying to make a regular red Zinfandel. He had what is called a stuck fermentation. A few hours in, the yeast stopped fermenting the grapes, the sugars in the grapes. And no matter what he did, he couldn't get it to start back up again. It sometimes happens. But what he did was he drained the juice out, this very sweet, very pink, very acidic wine, put it into a bottle, and he brought it home to dinner. Well, his mother loved it. And she said, you should call this white Zinfandel. And so he did. He bottled it, he put it out there, and now the only thing that pretty much any educational organization relating to wine talks about when it comes to California rosé is white Zinfandel. It has a very negative connotation within the wine industry because it is so sweet. It's what we would classify as medium sweet. It's not as sweet as your dessert wines like a Sauterne or a Tokai, but it's definitely not dry. When I taste this with my students, they look at what's in the glass and they go, oh no, do we really have to drink this white Zinfandel? I'm here to say, look, give white Zinfandel a chance. It has come a long way since it first started in the 80s and since it got super popularized in the 90s and 2000s. Okay, now we make white Zinfandel on purpose and we make it to be a little bit more balanced. So if somebody you know likes white Zinfandel, good on them. We're going to help them find a really nice white Zinfandel. These are the simple wines. It smells like watermelon Jolly Rancher, and that's kind of it. It is not complex. It is simple. It is easy. It is enjoyable. So that is the reputation that California has earned on the world stage. To this day, we still sell through millions and millions of cases of it, but we've moved on. So California rosé and American rosé in general is much more varied, much more dry, more balanced, and really a lot of fun to play around with. In Provence, there are only some grapes that you can grow. Legally, you are only allowed to grow certain grapes. The same as in Spain, right? Legally, you are only allowed to grow certain varieties. And so that's what they make their rosés from. In California and the rest of the US, we have no laws. It's literally the Wild West. If you can afford it, you can plant it. And that's meant that we have an incredible variety. People are making it from Pinot Noir, from Pinot Gris, from Mourvedre, Malbec, Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, whatever they want. And so, especially for a consumer, it's really kind of hard to know what we're going to be getting. In general, these wines are meant to be approachable, they're meant to be food friendly, and they're meant to have a little bit more character and boldness than their Provence counterparts. So if you really like lots of fruit and some good acid, California or US rosés are your way to go. I really love this picture because it has some of my absolute favorites. This Mathiasen you see here is one of my favorite. Bedrock made from Zinfandel, really old vineyards that they've probably should pull out, but instead they're using to make a gorgeous rosé. Red Car, beautiful example of coastal wines. If you ever need rosé recommendations, hi. Fun fact, I used to, not so much anymore, I used to judge international competitions on the rosé panels because I was one of the few international judges who actually liked rosé. So I have hopefully brought more California and more US wines to the market. So that's how region kind of plays a part in the style of rosé. What about the grapes? These are just some of the grape varieties that we can use to make rosé. And you can see just looking at it, all of them have big color differences, right? Just the skins alone are different. Pinot Noir and Grenache will throw some of the lightest colored rosés out there. Zinfandel, Syrah, and definitely Tempranillo, they'll tend to be a little bit darker, a little bit redder. And Mourvedre and Cinsault are perfect for making those super, super pale rosés like they make out of Provence. Each one has different flavors and aromas that go with it. Pinot Noir is all about red fruits. Grenache is a little bit of red fruit, can go a little bit black fruit depending on where it's grown. Zinfandel has really fresh fruit and dried fruit characteristics to it. So if any of these grapes are grapes that you love a red wine from, that you're probably also going to love a rosé from that as well. I will fully admit that I used to not like Pinot Noir rosés. I used to think that they were a little too light and that they didn't have enough fruity character to them. I loved Grenache and Zinfandel rosés. As I've gotten older, my tastes have changed and I've really found the beauty in Pinot Noir. So if in the past you've not liked something, it's always worth giving it another shot a couple of years later. In general, if you want bright, fresh, easy Grenache and Pinot, if you want something a little bit deeper, a little bit richer, try Tempranillo or a Syrah. Of note, Syrahs tend to be a little bit more red in the color. Don't let that throw you. We know that color doesn't mean anything, but that's just the color that it tends to throw. Okay, knowing all of this, question, has any of this changed the way that you would describe or think about your rosé?
Absolutely. So I was just sharing with these guys that my mother said from the 80s, friends don't let friends drink rosé. And I know, I'm sorry, but this is way back in the 80s and it has matured and transformed. And the things that you're saying actually help it to make sense why I have been shamelessly enjoying rosé for these many moons. But yeah, it makes sense because I think there was only white zin back then, and that was considered shameful. And it was always super sweet and acidic somehow at the same time. And so what we're having here, it's delightful, totally different. And now the baby's gonna cry, so I'm gonna unmute.
I love that we're bringing Arlo in so early. This makes me happy. He's gonna be a wine drinker one day. Yeah, Amelia, good, as long as she's okay with that. Jessica or Cynthia, how would you describe your rosé? Does it make sense given what it is and what grapes are in it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was always attracted mostly to dry Provençal style rosés, but then I fell in love years ago with Robert Hall's rosé, Tablas Creek, etc. All different. And I think it's so much fun to explore the different flavor profiles between the Provençal style versus, a Syrah of Mourvedre or a Syrah of Pinot Noir, even a Syrah of Cabernet Sauvignon. So for me, it's just really fun to indulge in the different styles and see what speaks to me, whether it's during a given season or what I'm eating or just what. But I thought your relay was perfect.
Thank you. Yeah, I can dive way deeper into some of these one day. And Cynthia, I know you can too. For those on the call, if you've ever had a bottle of J. Lore, which I know definitely Jill has, that's thanks to this one and her dad. I'm honored that she's on here. I'm freaking out just a little bit. It's okay. Thank you, Cynthia. Jessica, what about you?
Okay. So, given my little take, I used to think, I hate to say it, that all rosés were the same. But since I have joined Novel Pairings, I've noticed differences and been able to taste more flavor profiles. So I really tried to keep it in mind. And this one talks about the watermelon and stuff like that. And I think I like more of those Spanish Roscados because I definitely love the strawberries and things like that in them. But I love this too. Also, Erin, I do just want to say thank you because now I don't feel guilty for just buying it because it was a cute bottle. It's oh yeah, I'm doing it for research and it's okay if it's a cute bottle because I may find something amazing. And this way I can identify what makes it amazing.
Yes, I love that. I am fully a sucker for it. My friends know this. Do I have a bottle of Virgo wine in my fridge ready to drink on the during the Virgo season? Yes, absolutely. Is that going to be the highest quality wine? No, but I'm going to love it for what it is. And it's totally fine to buy based on a cute label. It just means that whoever designed it did a really good job. We have to have some more fun with the labels. Kim, what are you thinking of the Whispering Angel? I gotta know, like, what are you tasting? What are your thoughts?
Okay. And Merlot, maybe?
Merlot.
And this one is a little bit sweeter.
Yes.
The other one is lighter, very much lighter. I would say.
The Provençal rosé, like Whispering Angel, is always going to be super light, super crisp.
Yeah.
That's their style. I'm curious, on the back of your Toscana, does it have a sweetness indicator?
It does not.
Probably it might.
It has the level of alcohol. I don't see anything else though.
I would hope that's there. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
We looked it up on Google just to see what kind of grapes, because I was trying to figure out what kind of grapes it was. But yeah.
Big color difference too because of the Cabernet versus like the Cinsault.
It's darker. It's much darker.
Yeah, this is darker.
Absolutely. Okay, perfect. That is a great lead in to the next slide. How to pick a rosé. So you are not like me and a complete nerd and slight masochist and spent years upon years studying all this. What do you do when you go into a store or go to a restaurant, and how do you pick a rosé? So if you know your general styles, if you like something or want something in that moment, light, crisp, refreshing, you're going to pick something from Provence, and it will be in every store and on every wine list that has rosé. There will always be something from Provence. It's so popular. If you want something a little bolder, rounder, fruitier, lots of fruit flavor of that, like strawberry, cherry, hints of watermelon, you'll go California. And if you want something that's a little bit in between Provence and California, you'll go Rosado from Spain or Rosato from Italy. It's the same thing, just they say rosé a little bit different between the languages. If you have a grape you like, pick that one and try all the versions of rosé until you find one that you love, or until your friends convince you that Pinot Noir rosé is actually very good. It took many, many bottles before that clicked in my mind. When it comes to sweetness, the vast majority of rosés out there are dry. If you want something sweet, white Zinfandel will always be sweet, but you can always turn to the back of the label, and usually, if there is a little bit of residual sugar left over, there will be a small scale on there or some sort of mention that this is an off-dry or sweet wine. They'll tell you on that back label. And then most importantly, experiment, have fun with it. Pick the pretty label, try the rosé-focused winery, try a sparkling rosé. Those are some of my absolute favorites. There's a sparkling Syrah that I just absolutely love from a winery out here. It's stunning. I have no words other than stunning. I will drive out to Healdsburg anytime. It's a 2-hour drive for me. I will do that drive just for this wine. So just have some fun, play around. And then the next time that you pick a rosé that you love, I need you to tell me so I can definitely include it and share it with everybody else. And because I know this group, I know that the next question is going to be, what should you eat with your rosé? How do you pair without becoming a French chef? Because not me. For your lighter rosés, those Provence styles, salad, seafood, salty snacks, light, bright, things that you would typically expect from southern France or a coastal town. For your more fruity rosés, like your rosados, rosatos, tacos, as much spice as you can handle. Pizza, picnic foods, cheese and charcuterie boards. This is a really versatile wine, so you could probably pair this with just about anything. For a more bold rosé, thinking some of these California ones, if you smell it and it smells like a hint of meat, like it smells a little bit like freshly cooked steak, this is your barbecue wine. This will hold up to pretty much anything you put on the grill. Chicken, steak, kebabs, ribs. I mean, like, think all of the fun 4th of July foods. Those are your bold rosé foods. And then for your sweet rosés and your white Zinfandels, desserts, always. Sweet foods go with sweet wines and vice versa. If you want to try cheeses, your salty, creamy cheeses, even some of your moldy ones are a great option. Blue cheese, camembert, goat, anything that will give a little extra texture to it. Spicy foods like Thai food are another great option. The sweetness in the rosé will balance out the spiciness in the food. And then my personal favorite, popcorn. I don't know what it is. It's something about the saltiness in the popcorn and that buttery character that just works perfectly with a sweet rosé. It also works with sparkling rosés, but not as well. Honestly, if I compare popcorn with anything, I will. I could make a meal of popcorn. So I'm going to find a way to include it in any of our pairings. Okay. That's going to wrap Rosé 101. I wanted to keep this quick, simple, easy, nice, so that we could just go over the basics of rosé and give you enough to go out into the world and play around with pink wines. As you go into the summer, keep an eye out for things like frosé. That is a new fun cocktail. I drink those Tuesday nights at farmers markets. That's a really cool way to incorporate rosé.
What goes into a frosé?
So basically, it's a little bit like shaved ice or shaken margarita. It's really just the rosé.
Really? Okay, because some places around where I've had it, I think they're throwing in like vodka or vermouth or something funky. And I don't
the pure frosé is not any other alcohol added. But wine cocktails, oh, those are big.
Yeah.
And that's where you're starting to see like the vodka and other things being thrown in.
Okay, so it runs the gamut. I wasn't sure if it was like always included or if there was like a standard kind of recipe or something like that.
You just got
No, frosé is just literally frozen rosé. And I learned the hard way, it's not accidentally leaving it in your freezer overnight frozen rosé.
Dang it.
You should see the bottom of my freezer. Not great. Love that. Any other questions about rosés or other pink wines that you've tried?
We were talking about how sometimes when we have the first couple sips, it tastes like the feeling, the sensation you have when you have like fruit juice after you've brushed your teeth. But then it goes away.
What is that?
What? Is that good? Is that bad? Do you just, I mean, it's like, do we just press on until it's delicious?
Wait, I want to preface this with, we started with the Tempranillo and then went to the, was it Grenache? Oh, Mourvedre. And so it was a shock.
We went the wrong direction.
We went the wrong direction.
Okay, so there is a right direction, but there's also no wrong direction. So we'll start that.
We coined the wrong direction for sure.
You went the wrong direction. That's totally fine. That can happen, and it can happen for a variety of reasons. It could just be like what you've eaten earlier in the day. It could be that the wine just needed a second to breathe because there was too much sulfur or there was too much something else happening in the bottle. I've seen that happen. It could be that you went from Tempranillo, which is really big and bold and expressive, to a more, I call Mourvedre like the middle. It's a little bit more mellow in all of those terms. So it could be a little bit of that happening.
Oh, we definitely did that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always say with any bottle, and this is not rosé specifically, it's just in general, give it a second or two in the glass if it tastes or smells funky or something's not right. Wash out with water and then go back to it. If it's really flawed, like if it only smells like wet cardboard or rotten eggs, Yeah, no, that's always a really fun one. Or it smells like if it smells like the fruit died, that definitely is something that can happen. Those are obvious flaws. That is a bad bottle. But if something just feels like a little, we call it tight in the wine industry, like it feels like it's restrained and it's not giving off everything it needs to, give it a few minutes, flush your palate out, and come back to it.
Okay.
That
So
is not a question I've gotten in a while. I love that. Thank you.
Okay. Next question. Do you spin it and aerate it kind of like you would a red wine at all, or do you leave it alone? Like if you're trying to kind of aerate it a little bit, because obviously they're sitting in their encapsulated ice baths.
Yeah. So with any wine, the more you spin it and add air to it, the faster the aromas will develop and then fall off.
Ah.
So you don't want to over aerate it, especially with a lighter rosé or a lighter white. The more you do this, the faster all of the aroma particles basically come out of the wine and out of the glass, and it will eventually. I mean, you have to really work to make that happen. So just don't do this for like 5 minutes straight, basically. Just don't keep doing it.
I can't.
So
I can't ignore the wine for that long.
it says it's supposed to happen.
Come work with me and work in the wine industry, and eventually you get it down. I'm still working on how to do it with my left hand, though. I'm just not that good at it.
Okay, I'm done. I have no more questions now.
I don't believe you. Jessica.
Later.
Okay. One, I didn't know that rosé could have anxiety, because that's what I'm taking from it being tight and needing to breathe. So super fun fact there. But also too, so
sorry, Jessica, I had to let you know that we thought you're hilarious. Because you're hilarious.
well, good. Well, good. No, that's exactly what I thought. It was like, oh, like that's why I like rosé, bringing out that anxiety. Question. So, and this may be a dumb one, so sorry,
No such thing.
but pink Moscato, what does it make? Like, how does it go pink? Like, okay, other pink wines, like, because obviously rosé, it's like the color and it's a pink color. But what about these other wines that they all call pink? Because I really like them, but now I'm confused about how they're different from everything. So just maybe a little info would be great.
Yeah. No, that's great. So pink Moscato and all of these other wines that are called pink are made in the same way. They're just using different grape varieties. So Moscato is not one grape variety. It's actually, there's like 4 or 5 of them, and they all have really different names, but they just go by Moscato pretty much everywhere else. So in this case, they're using the Moscato grape that has a red skin to it. And then they're making it sweet by stopping the fermentation a little early so that there's some residual sugar left over. So Moscato itself is like a really sweet grape. That's what I grew up on, was Barefoot Moscato. Like, that is just a wine that loves to be sweet.
I know.
For this pink one, they just used the red grape version.
Okay, yeah, Barefoot Moscato, honestly, because it's so affordable, and it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, it's what I give to my friends when they come over for any kind of like party or something. I was like, oh, it's cheap and it tastes pretty good, and you get a little tipsy pretty fast. So, but thanks, Erin. That does explain it a lot for me.
Yeah, absolutely. That was my college stepping stone wine. We can thank Barefoot Moscato for all of this now. I appreciate it. Cynthia, I saw your hand go up first.
Yes, so I was going to ask you, because I have been a long-standing Whispering Angel fan, as I know you have. What do you think it is about Whispering Angel, or what it signals, that has made it so incredibly popular?
Ooh. Okay, so combination of things. The first being, it has a great name, and it has really great marketing. And Whispering Angel was one of the first rosés to come out at a higher price point. And while I know, and now you all know, that price does not equate to quality, it definitely signals that to the majority of people, right? Even I catch myself falling victim to it sometimes. So I think it was the name, it was the beautiful color, it was the great marketing, it was the price point, and it was at a time when I think the world was just sort of ready to start drinking more rosé. Like it was just perfectly primed, and it's delicious.
Yeah, I quite agree. All of the above. Well said.
Actually, we were just in Florida and we had the Veuve Clicquot rosé. It was like the best sparkling rosé I've ever had. And we really do like Chandon sparkling rosé, but it was a step above in terms of complexity. And it just, maybe it's because we were in the Magic Kingdom.
It was also our third drink of the day.
That one always tastes good.
No, but I don't love those. So it was phenomenal. Anyway, just wanted
I'm
to.
just impressed you went with Veuve for the third drink of the day. That's usually the one we start with because it's the priciest.
Well, we were going around the world.
Ah.
They don't arrange it right.
We're going to have a separate conversation about doing the around the world at Disney World. That's something I want to try one day, potentially over like a span of 3 days. So other sparkling rosés that I think are really good. So my all-time favorite sparkling Grenache and sparkling Syrah come from this winery in Healdsburg called Amista Vineyards. They do ship to Michigan. I know that because I've been looking for pairings and want to make sure I can get something that can actually go to Michigan. I love Gloria Ferrer's. Those are really widely available, and they're solid. Those are great wines. I've seen Domaine Carneros does a surprisingly good sparkling rosé, and I believe they're using Pinot Noir for that one. What else? Like I'm trying to think of wines that you can find anywhere. I see like the Chandon family like this. Yes. Cynthia, are you guys doing any sparkling rosés at J. Laura? I don't think I've tasted any in a while.
We get that question all the time, and we haven't done any sparkling items since we made our Ariel Vineyards Brut Rosé and Blanc de Noir de-alcoholized wines over 40 or almost 40 years ago. So we've made the strategic decision, at least for now, because we would want to follow méthode champenoise in order to do a sparkling, but never say never, right? Because it's so delicious and delightful, and we're just enjoying our rosé right now, but you know, it would take us kind of in a different direction. We're trying to stay focused right now, but I love your thinking because I love a delicious sparkling rosé as well.
Well, if it ever changes, you know, I will be first in line to try some.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Kim, I can also do a little bit more research into some of the wines that will actually ship out to Michigan. So we'll do, and Jessica, if you want that for Arizona too. I think it's easier for you in Arizona though. Yeah, mostly because one of the fun things I get to do for my job is look at all the different laws around direct consumer shipping between the states. I could teach a master class on that. It's not fun, but I will definitely come with some more suggestions for you. Okay, any other questions? You all know where to find me too. I will always answer your questions through email. If you're on the Discord community, feel free to pop them in there too. I have the app, so it lets me know. But I really hope that after all of this, you just kind of see how wide and varied rosé is, and that if maybe there's one you don't like, keep trying. Drink more in the fall and winter too, please, so that they're on store shelves more often. That's like my other main message.
Or you could just come visit Arizona and then just drink it year round.
Yes, it has been a long time. I haven't been to Arizona in a while. Let's make this happen.
I feel like we do for like a silent book club. I really do. I have so many ideas.
Okay, so we're going to be talking after this. Speaking of which, I am hosting silent book clubs. The next one is, I cannot believe this, next week. April 22nd at Hope on Park in Paso Robles, and then another one May 13th at Ramsgate in Sonoma. I am working to bring them around the country, mostly to fuel my wanderlust and to come see everybody that I've met on Zoom and haven't had a chance to meet in person. So I will be announcing more dates soon, but if you're available for either of those dates, let me know and we'll get you some tickets. All right. Thank you everyone for jumping into Rosé Wines 101. I will see you at book club, hopefully April 30th, 6 p.m. We're reading Harlem Rhapsody. I don't know if you've started this book. I'm in love with it. This might be my best book of 2026 so far. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you soon.
Great to see you. Great to be with you all.
Bye,
Thanks so
guys.
much. Goodbye, everyone.